Welcome back to Mythic for Foundry. In this video, we'll demonstrate the named character actor by making our own character. There are several different actor types in the Mythic system, 4 in all. They are the named character, used for player characters and very important NPCs or nemesis type enemies. They have the highest degree of customizability. They are also, as of the making of this video, the only actor currently implemented, even though others may appear in the creation options. The bestiary enemy, used for your average bad guys from the bestiary section of the rulebook. They will be introduced after Mythic 4.5 has been released. The flood enemy, very similar to the bestiary enemy, but with a few key changes that allows game masters to take advantage of the unique qualities of the deadly flood. Finally, the vehicle, which is exactly what it sounds like. Seeing as we're making a playable character, let's create a new named character actor. To do this, select the actors icon in the right-hand sidebar, then click Create Actor. Now, we need to give our character a name. We'll be creating a Spartan 2 for this build, since they have a lot of the features that the Mythic game offers all in one package, so they represent a great opportunity to demonstrate the Mythic system in Foundry. Seeing as the franchise is built around a particular Spartan 2, let's call our character John. This is the summary page for John's character sheet. The summary page has basic character details like name, rank, faction, size, height and weight, gender, and background choices. Additionally, it hosts nearly all of the most essential information about the character, readily available for players in the heat of combat. From here, you can adjust wounds, luck, fatigue, and shields, as well as quickly reference your armor and damage resistance, roll characteristic tests, make attacks with any of your equipped weapons, or roll batched evasions. We'll go over this in more detail later. The Talents tab is separated into 3 sub-tabs: Abilities and Traits, Skills and Educations, and Trainings. Abilities and Traits is a list of all of our abilities, traits, and augmentations. Skills and Educations is where we can make skill tests, adjusting the used characteristic on the fly where applicable. We can also make education tests from this page, assuming we have any. Trainings is where we mark ourselves as proficient with a number of faction and equipment trainings, as well as list all of our known languages. If we don't keep these up to date, we may take some unnecessary penalties when making attacks with new equipment, so make sure to visit this page whenever you purchase a new training. The inventory page stores all of our items and allows us to modify them, mark them as carried or uncarried, equipped or unequipped, and more. It also shows us what percentage of our carry weight we've reached with all of our gear, displayed in the progress bar at the top. The experience page is where we mark all of the experience we've gained and what we spent it on. We'll be seeing this page quite a lot. The biography and notes pages are big editors that allow you to write relevant story information or campaign notes, either about your character's backstory or just as a campaign journal to keep track of what has happened. Finally, the settings page. This is where we'll set up a lot of information about our character that will dictate their stats for the entire rest of the sheet. It's separated into several sections, and we'll go over each section in more detail as we build our character. Now, let's log our starting experience. We'll start with 16,000 experience for this character build, so let's load that into the total section here, then click Apply. The sheet should automatically update the total and the tier to match. Now, let's add the Spartan 2 soldier type and the Mjolnir Gen 2 armor as experience purchases. We'll click Purchase to generate a new purchase. Then, we can enter the information. It costs 11,600 experience to start as a Spartan 2, and another 2,250 experience to start with Gen 2 Mjolnir. That doesn't leave us a lot of experience to spend on abilities, but I think John's strength will come from his luck instead of his talents. You can find the Spartan 2 soldier type starting stats on page 19 of the Halo Mythic rulebook. We can enter these into the characteristics section of the character sheet. There are separate rows for base characteristics granted by soldier type, ability pool, upbringing, and advancements. We can do the same for John's Mythic characteristics in the table located below and to the left of the characteristics settings. I'll go ahead and enter those now. I've entered our characteristics, as well as the characteristic adjustments from John's background. Spartan 2s must have the military upbringing, so that was decided for us. I picked the city environment, giving us -1 perception and +1 courage, since John was raised in Elysium City before being conscripted. I selected the bodybuilder 4 through 5 lifestyle, giving him +3 strength and toughness, but -3 charisma and leadership, leaving the totals that you see before you. Spartan 2s gain the emotionally broken and fast foot abilities at character creation, along with all Spartan 2 augmentation traits and the squad up racial ability. Keep those in mind, because we'll come back to them when we get to items in the next video. However, we can mark John as having the fast foot ability here in the initiative settings section. This will change his initiative formula. We can see this if we roll the initiative button from the summary page. Here's a roll before checking fast foot, and here's one after it's checked. Spartan 2s gain 4 skills at +10 at character creation. So let's head to the Skill and Education subpage under the Talents tab and pick our 4. To best fit with the Chief's skill set, I opted for Athletics, Command, Evasion, and Pilot Ground. We can set these to +10 in the dropdowns, which should change our roll buttons to reflect the correct totals. I'll go ahead and add the other ones now. We can change the characteristic we're using to roll certain skills, if appropriate, by using this dropdown, like with the Gambling skill. We can roll a skill test by clicking the corresponding button in the Roll column. A dialog window will appear, allowing us to enter circumstance modifiers for this roll. They can be entered as a mathematical string. So, for example, 2 + 2 + 2 will be read as +6, while 2 - 4 will be read as -2. The result will populate in the chat in the sidebar, giving us the result of the roll in this box, as well as the degrees of success or failure. Let's continue creating John. All Spartan 2s begin with all racial and weapon trainings at character creation. We can enter this in the Training subpage under the Talents tab. To set a character as being trained, simply click the appropriate box. In this case, that'll be all of them. To add a language, simply type the name of the language into the language input box, then click Add Language. To remove a language, simply type it again, then click Remove Language. Lastly, Spartan 2s double their strength and toughness when figuring their carry weight. There are boxes to check for these on the settings page. Simply check the appropriate boxes under the carrying capacity settings section. And we're done with everything that the Spartan 2 soldier type grants. Now we can deal with our wounds and luck. Chief is known for his luck, so we'll want to max out our luck, with the highest value that we can have starting out, 4. As he gains luck from other sources, like purchasing advancements or being rewarded luck by the Game Master, he can modify his luck with these fields here. Though, I think I will burn a luck now at character creation to pick up the Enduring Outlier trait. This will allow Chief to ignore his first level of fatigue. We can mark this with the Enduring checkbox in the Fatigue settings, and by adding 1 to the Burnt field in the Luck settings. Because we selected 4 luck, Chief won't gain any wounds advancements at character creation. However, since there is a limit on how many he can have, these can be selected from this drop-down menu. If you are playing an AI character, you can also mark the number of destabilizations you have experienced in this section as well. It will impact your wounds, but can be removed later if you manage to undergo the memory reconstruction procedure. Support points can also be set here, based on rank and all other contributions. Per his rank, Chief has 5 support points. The movement settings section has a lot of information regarding multipliers for jumping and leaping, which players of Sangheili or Tavoan characters will find particularly useful. Players of Hunters have an option for the Hunter's agility bonus on run and charge movements, and there are boxes to check for the blur and rush abilities. Chief still has some experience to spend, so let's be like 343 and give him some sprint. We'll commit to buying him the blur ability and check it here. Now, if we return to the settings page, we can see that a lot of the information on this sheet has already been populated for us, apart from the current values for attributes like our wounds, luck, and support points. We can set those to full ourselves. We can also finish filling in the basic details at the top of the sheet, now that we know all of this information about our character. All of the characteristic values here can be rolled, like any test. Let's roll a toughness test. They too We'll provide a circumstance modifier dialog box prior to making the roll. All of Chief's movement and carrying capacities have been calculated for us. We can even see that the sprint box, which before had nothing in it, now has a number since we checked the blur box. Because we selected the enduring trait, we can bring Chief's fatigue to 1 without any negative impact on his characteristics tests. Without it, we would start feeling the fatigue right away, which we see here when we increase the fatigue to 2. This leaves us with a mostly complete character sheet. The only thing missing, of course, is gear. That's it for this video. Hopefully I've been able to demonstrate all of the features of the Mythic for Foundry named character actor sheet. More great sheets are coming soon, after the release of Mythic 4.5. Until then, I'll continue to improve the named character sheet, adding more functionality and smoothing out rough patches. For now, we've made a lot of progress on our character sheet, but we still have to provide Chief with his abilities, weapons, armor, and other equipment. We'll get to that in the next video, where we talk about the item types available in the Mythic for Foundry system. See you then.